Hello, and welcome to the latest in our environmental policy video series. In each of these collections of bite-sized videos, we'll be bringing environmental science insights into the world of policy in 10 minutes or less. Over the course of this series, we'll be confronting a profound reality. The decisions we make now will be historic ones, and they will decide the stories we tell to generations to come about the fight against climate change. Our video series on climate action and transformative change will revisit the institution's work ahead of the COP26 Climate Summit, delving into the details of our manifesto for transformative change and the 54 recommendations it sets out for global climate action, as well as the analysis and evidence to support them. As the series goes on, we'll learn more about the ways in which climate change has been caused by complex interactions between social, economic, and natural systems. We'll also learn how we can employ systems thinking approaches to achieve multiple benefits for the environment, society, and the economy. In this video, we'll be discussing science, innovation, and communities. As we transition towards transformative change in response to the climate crisis, we need science to show us our options, innovation to find new solutions, and communities to decide what future is right for them. All nations and sectors of society can benefit from the green transition, as long as social and economic considerations are included in our decisions ahead of time. Significant change in how we live our lives is inevitable in the face of climate change, so we have the opportunity to create additional benefits for everyone. That positive approach to the future we can create will be crucial to encouraging people to get involved in addressing climate change. We can avoid leaving behind industries or communities by including them as we design the process of the transition, an approach called co-production, where decisions are made alongside those who will be affected by them. Wherever possible, we should draw on the knowledge of communities and avoid top-down policies which don't make sense in context, allowing people to be part of the process of designing solutions. Science can play a role in facilitating those interactions, though the pressures on our climate are often social or economic as well as natural, so we may need to address more fundamental social challenges as well as environmental ones. That means we have the opportunity to create a positive vision which demonstrates the potential for the transition to create mutually beneficial change. People need to know how the climate transition will affect their lives, and that it will be a positive change that helps them to thrive. The response to climate change must give communities that assurance, which must be realistic and credible. In many places, that process of co-production has already begun, and we can kickstart it elsewhere as well. Elected representatives are crucial for sharing the perspectives of the communities they represent. Better use of democratic tools can create the dialogue we need to co-produce solutions. Another key step in beginning these conversations is to give people the tools they need to understand climate change and the risks and opportunities associated with the transition. Ensuring that everyone has an understanding of the basics of climate science, the ability to participate in conversations about their options for the future, and the empowerment to take positive commitments in their own lives will be essential. Collectively, these skills and knowledge are part of what we call climate literacy, which summarizes the understandings needed to support the transition. Climate literacy should be spread across different streams of education and the whole workforce through accessible training providers, peer-to-peer training, and individual learning opportunities. There are also more specific skills which will be needed for our society to reach net zero, which need to become more widespread. National governments and individual sectors should seek to identify the need for specific skills and set out strategies for realizing them in partnership with higher education, further education, and the private sector. Many of those who require new or updated skills are already in the global workforce, so solutions to the current deficit in net zero skills must embrace lifelong learning. We also need to avoid leaving any communities or sectors behind during the transition, so we should put in place retraining opportunities and skills pipelines to ensure that we can achieve just transitions, where the benefits and costs of the climate transition are shared equally across society. To make that possible, we may need to examine the skills we have now and the ones we will need in the future, and governments may need to provide the funding to give businesses the certainty needed to make their own investments and to work collaboratively with training providers. Empowering diverse views and experiences will be essential to finding collaborative solutions which work for all of society. We should use existing ways to empower people whenever possible, and when that's not possible, further democratization and co-production should be promoted. This will allow for climate action, which not only addresses environmental issues, but has multiple benefits for social issues as well. Our action on climate change should be linked to our goals for wider sustainability and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Where more action is still needed, equality, diversity, and inclusion principles can promote better capacity building, integration, and participation from a wider cross-section of people. Scientific evidence is also crucial to empowering communities because it provides them with the information they need to make meaningful choices about their lives and their future. Those decisions should be informed by appropriate and robust evidence, especially where trade-offs and complex systems are involved. Where possible, systematic reviews of evidence should be utilized, and research should be supported to fill gaps where evidence does not yet exist. While seeking high levels of rigor, we should also try to ensure our science is transparent, fair, just, understandable, and that it is as free as possible at the point of use. Historic inaction on climate change has left us with less time to find solutions, but we cannot rush towards solutions at the expense of systematic consideration of evidence, or we may face further delays and potential unintended consequences. Solutions require appropriate time to properly utilize expertise and evidence, co-producing answers which are backed by science, while also representing the interests of the communities who need to live with those solutions. When a quick deadline is inevitable, we should use science to show us the risks and consequences linked to making a quick decision, and we should prepare for those risks from the outset. We can also pilot different approaches at a smaller scale to give us evidence before we commit to a single decision without the data to support it. In order to create those innovative solutions, businesses need to compete with each other on a level playing field. While many large companies lead by example and can develop competitive advantages by becoming more sustainable, that's not always an option, and it may be necessary for governments to regulate to assure businesses that their investments in green innovation will be rewarded. Effective regulation can also show businesses the government's vision for positive change, allowing them to safeguard themselves against risk by staying ahead of the global transition. Science, innovation, and community feedback are all crucial to the process of making decisions about the future of our social and economic systems. Those decisions are also likely to have profound effects on our natural systems. So how can we use nature to create solutions? How can we achieve multiple benefits from the ways we interact with the natural world? And how can the natural environment support transformative change? We'll be answering those questions and more as we continue with this IES policy series on climate action and transformative change. But if you want to get an inside track on the answers, you can read all about it in our landmark Manifesto for Transformative Change, which is available on the IES website. If you want to support our work on science-led climate action, you can become an affiliate, or if you're a professional in the environmental sector working with science, consider becoming a member of the IES. You'll find a link to our Manifesto for Transformative Change in the details below, along with our social media and a link to the IES website. Make sure you follow us across platforms so that you're up to date with all of our latest events, videos, and CPD opportunities. And remember to like the video, share it with friends and colleagues, and let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Join us again for another short video in our policy series on climate action and transformative change. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.